Next bit, I put this together, done a lot of the work without filming because I get plastered in gunge, and operating nice cameras covered in gunge is not recommended. However, I have bought like a head torch bracket that takes a GoPro type action camera, so hopefully I'll be able to use that and you'll be able to see what I'm seeing, which might improve things a little. Right, made a manifold, may have to modify this at some point in the future, not too sure yet. I used the bottom of the original, I cut it off, and then I welded it on when I cut the bottom off, which came into kit, and I've opened it out so it's all the right size hole. But you need the old spacer on there to reduce heat transfer. Didn't go that way around, did it, idiot? No, around. I'll get it right in a minute. The hole in the middle is slightly offset, it's not perfectly central, so right, that on there, then your spacer, then another gasket, and then you plonk that on there like that. And do that up. As I say, this might need a bit of tweaking. We just need to get it running and see what we've got. The bike is cocked up in the air at the moment on a back wheel because it's on a paddock stand. So it's all a bit like that. So I've kind of compensated for that, but I might have not compensated enough. So you might have to modify the manifold a bit. But the game is to get it running, see what it sounds like with a lashed up ignition system, see what the generator puts out, and see if we can go over to 12 volt electric, which would be nice. Boyer Branson do an electronic ignition unit that's triggered by the points, and it'll work from about 6 volts up to about 14, I think, so it covers the range 6 to 12 volts, so I might invest in one of those. It doesn't matter whether we run 6 or 12 volts. Right, do not swing on that like a gorilla, it's not required. That then sits on there like that. And the air filter's going to come out there, and your boot's going to be here, sort of thing. So it's just a bit awkward whether to get that to go around now. So I might completely redesign it and make a completely new one. But right now, I just want to get it going so we can see what we've got and whether the bigger bore was really worth it. And when I took this carburetor out of the packet, I noticed the float bar was loose, which led me to think maybe I'd pilfered the jets out of it, and I had. I don't know why, because I've got bags and bags of jets. There was obviously a reason back at the time, so I put a 105 on the main, which is 2 up on the original that these come supplied with, and a 40 on the pilot, which is 1 up on the original. Because we always find they run too weak anyway. So that may be enough. Might have to go one more. We just have to try it and see what we get. Now let's nip this up and get these covers back on. I can fill the bike with oil. It's got good compression now. I've kicked it over a few times. So there's no reason, as long as we got a spark, it shouldn't run. That on there like that, and I have said air filter, which will go in there like that. Yeah, the right size should be. Yeah, and that'll go in there like that. Marvellous, look at that. So and you're coming in, the foot pegs are here. I'm going to change it to a standard gear shift. But I might tweak this way a bit, but as I say, the main thing is let's just get it running and go from there. Now this is going to get interesting because this ended up full of grease. I didn't realise the inlet valve was open because obviously the engine was stuck. So I was merrily pumping it full of grease with my grease gun to unstick it. And I realised it was filling the carburetor up, so I made a little plate. So I have a very well lubricated carburetor. Whether I wanted one or not is another matter. Is that? It's right in. Yuck, in the word. There you come. like wrestling a bar of soap getting this off of it. Boing, there we go. A bit. Right, yeah. Again, this may need a few mods to make this kind of work in this carburetor. Come on, off you come. So, there we go. Yuck. Grease is great, except when you've got it on your hands and you don't want it. We have been really busy on the RL as well, so I will show you over, take you over and show you some of the bits we've been doing. It's coming together nicely. Yeah, we're going to need a longer throttle cable, I think. But for just now, just to get it going, that will do. I've probably got a pit bike one kicking around somewhere, so I'll stick that in there like that. Somebody's nipped me slide. Where's it gone? Yeah, come here. Yeah, that's set in the middle. And that goes all the way down there like that. And that sits in there. Right. Yeah, the throttle cable is completely knackered, but it's fine. We're going to replace all the cables anyway. But it does work. Have a look at the old. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, with these old type throttles, there's no real adjustments, so we'll sort that out. And I've got a freelance, if you will, fuel tap to put somewhere at some point, because you've got two fuel lines that come down, one for reserve, one for main tank. And of course, on the original, I'll put this carburetor back together in a minute, it's actually on the side of the carb. Put it on the camera like that, so it's no use. Right. So that's that. I just say I'm going to put the covers on here. It's all timed up, and fill it with oil, and then see if we can get some sparkles as our next trick. So there you go. I will get you off there and bring you in so you can have a slightly better look, because it's a bit awkward. Let me try and do everything on my Jack Jones there. Right. There you go. Oh, just steady, Dave. Get it together. There you go. Point ignition. Yeah, that's filled with oil, so I've got to put the cover on, otherwise I can't put any oil on it. But yeah, that'll work for now. That'll work for now. Right. Brilliant. As you can see on the boat, loads and loads of different jets I have kicking around. So I can always, you know, fiddle around once I get it going. Right, RL time. Let's bring you over here to the RL. And the tarpaulins on it, because we have to cover it up, because I often kick it outside because it gets in the way. But we are getting there. One alternator, all put on. That is an original compressor, which we managed to get hold of, and all the belts are now on. Power steering box. Now when I fitted this box, I didn't modify the chassis. I made a bracket to make the power steering box fit, and the same with the drag link, so I could take this power steering box off and drag link and put the original back on. I may put a tie bar between the two front legs once I've got the radiator back on. But I'll give you a quick update. So there you go, and that box there is a foot valve which is connected to the brake pedal itself. Air dryer and pressure release valve for the pump, new air tanks. I cleaned up the old brake actuators because it's dual line braking system. We've got to get masters and that which go in that hole there, and we got a fuel line to put in, And those two brackets on the back, one is for jerry can holder and one is for an original toolbox. If I bring it down here, you won't believe how long it took to clip and run that air brake line that goes right up to the end to the handbrake actuator, which we put on instead of a cable. So there you go, we are getting there slowly. New high performance coil, overhaul distributor all ready to go. So yeah, we're getting there. Very close. Right, can't remember where we got to on the last bit. Anyway, lashed up a fuel tank, and I have made the Confessions of a Plumber's Mate inlet manifold. I gave it a squirt of Easy Start with a lashed up ignition system, and it fired, tried to run. So I thought, right, let's sort this out. I'll bring you in a bit closer so you can see what I've done, and we'll try and get it running. It's been running really, really well. On the carburettor, in the end, I had to go up to a 108 on the main and a 42 on the idle, and at a flat spot, when you open the throttle, it would bog down. So I've lifted the needle in the slide by 1 notch, and that seems to have got rid of that. Obviously, I'm not racing it or, you know, doing anything silly with it. It's brand new guts. I don't want to, you know, wreck it. I don't understand why people start their vehicles stone cold and then rev the nuts off them. It's really bright. Not. But I'm going to get you in so you can have a bit closer look at what I've done, and I'll get it going for you. It's been going really well, actually. So let's just have a quick sort of sort out, zoom in a bit. There you go. You can clearly see, I literally, from where we were the other day, I had a couple more manifolds that had the right bolt spacing, so I cut and shut them and to give me the shape. They're all the same internal dimensions, so it's the same, you know, no restrictions, should I say, rather going into that. And it seems to pick up and want to go very, very well indeed. The next job is to lash up a better sealed fuel tank, not an open hole, and a battery cable tied on, just because it's on points at the moment, and I'm pushing it a bit because it's a 6 volt coil, and I'm actually running 12 volts, and the points are burning up. But it doesn't matter, it's going to get the electronic ignition module and new points anyway, but just for, you know, testing purposes, it's fine. So let's see. This is where I get egg on face and it won't start, but let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. And I'm starting it with my bionic leg. I'm not going to rev it. Oh, cut out. But like I say, I have been having trouble with points and stuff, so there we go. To get the settings absolutely perfect, I need to run it in and run it around the yard, so we've got to get a lot more bits improved. But there you go. And I have noticed this gets very cold when it's running, so we're not getting heat transfer up, and cold air fuel mix is denser than warm air fuel mix, so you generally get it to run a bit better. So yeah, the few rattles you can hear are the junk on the bench, but yeah, I'm not going to spank it. That's just kind of stupid. So there you go, it's now running. I'm going to turn it off, it's killed the ignition. So yeah, got to sort out obviously a rewire, and I may well junk these girder forks. They've got no proper damping, and I've either got to put external dampers on like some people do, or I can do a telescopic conversion, and the later ones had tellies anyway, and I can put disc brake on the front. It's just over 200 quid for all the bits. You get a new wheel, forks, yokes, bearings, the whole shebang. I have noticed that sometimes the actual stem is too long, and I've had to make a spacer to make it all work, but I think we'll go down that road. I think it'd be better finish. Still use that mudguard on, make a bracket to make it fit. Obviously need a new seat. I'll get that one recovered. But no rattles, no smoke, and it seems as a starting point very good. So I'll bring you back when we've done a bit more.